Hi everyone, today we're going to be talking about Chenaught. Chenaught is the new raid boss in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. It's confirmed to be a Tera Rock Chenaught, and off rip you're probably thinking, wow, another Annihilate Iron Hands W, and I mean you wouldn't necessarily be wrong. These Pokemon definitely can deal with Chenaught. It just, in my opinion, wouldn't be the most optimal way to take out this Chenaught, because if you look at Chenaught stats, which is another important part of Pokemon, Chenaught has a really high defense stat. I mean, just look at the guy. He looks like he can take a physical hit or two. So what you wanna do, like, okay, let's just break this down, because I feel like I always forget to mention this. A lot of the guide or the me trying to figure out the best raid Pokemon for these raids is usually from the perspective of someone who wants to take on this Pokemon over and over and over and over again in order to grind Tera shards, items, what have you. This is not a video, because like if you just wanted one and done the Chenaught, you just want to fight Chenaught and be done with it once, then like these two will serve you just fine, I would say. But if you want to have a little bit of an easier time, or you want to grind the Chenaught over and over again, just like I do, then I'm gonna recommend Gholdengo. Personally, there are some other Pokemon we could recommend here, but what you're going to want is a special attacker. Usually people like doing special attackers for raids anyway, because special attackers, they honestly, they have it easier. They don't get affected by burn. If you have an acid spray support next to you, you can kind of go crazy with that. So special attackers are definitely really great, and I would definitely, like for this raid in particular, I would recommend them, but that comes with a caveat. You got to be careful of Bulletproof. Bulletproof is Chenaugh's hidden ability, which it will most likely have because every Pokemon thus far has had their hidden ability. And Bulletproof, this Pokemon is immune from bullet moves. What does that mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here we have Pokemon DB, my personal favorite website for looking up Pokemon information. Bulletproof is an ability. Bulletproof makes Pokemon immune to all ball and bomb moves. So Acid Spray, it's actually immune to Acid Spray. That's actually something I learned now. So Acid Spray is no good for this raid. Aura Sphere, super effective, but it won't work because Bulletproof will just swallow it. You got Barrage, Beak Blast, Bullet Seed. Bullet Seed's another move you could have potentially used here to do some super effective damage. It won't work. Electro Ball, Energy Ball, another move that won't work. Focus Blast, another huge move that won't work. Gyro Ball, Ice Ball, Magnet Bomb, Mist, Mud Bomb, Octazooka, blah 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 blah. Nothing here. Seed Bomb, maybe people maybe will use Seed Bomb. Either way, as you can see, the big ones you want to watch out for that you can't use are Energy Ball, Focus Blast, I would say. Those are probably Aura Sphere as well. So in my opinion, what you want is a special Steel type attacker, because Steel is super effective on Rock. That is exactly what Chenaught is. On top of that, Chenaught doesn't actually learn that many moves that hurts Gholdengo. Chenaught gets Earthquake, it gets Bulldoze, it gets Shadow Claw, but none of those moves are really doing that much damage to Gholdengo. For Gholdengo, you probably want to give it the Shell Bell here. Also, shout out to Jamie Keen as always for these for this idea for Gholdengo. A lot of people just run max defense, max special attack. You can do that, but these investments right here allow you to take hits better than what other people would maybe recommend. Some people would maybe just recommend max HP, max defense as well, but like I said, we're trying to be optimal here. So I know these EV spreads might scare you, but it's easy, trust me. You use 26 HP ups, you use 90 irons, and then you use 2, I think it's resist feathers, and then you use 17 in the special attack buffing one. I can't remember what it's called for EV training. Or you can just EV train, which if you know how to EV train, then this shouldn't scare you. Anyways, Chenaught doesn't really learn, it gets crunch as well, but yeah, Chenaught doesn't really get much that's going to be hurting Gholdengo, and Gholdengo out damages Iron Hands and Annihilate without any investment. Like Gholdengo gets Nasty Claw, Gholdengo gets Flash Cannon, which is what we're looking at here. Gholdengo gets Recover, so it can just recover itself whenever it wants. Gholdengo also has this ability called Good as Gold, which means it's immune to status moves. So something I suggested to Jamie is, oh, maybe Chenaught will have Spiky Shield, because I think Spiky Shield was originally introduced kind of as like Chenaugh's signature move. It was then like distributed to other Pokemon later on. But what happens if it runs Spiky Shield just to like, I don't think I've ever seen a raid boss with a protecting move, but what if it runs Spiky Shield just to like, you know, stall out the timer, is Jamie's reasoning why it could run Spiky Shield. It could run Spiky Shield, and if it were to do like Leech Seed, if they ran one of these for some godforsaken reason, Gholdengo doesn't get affected by Leech Seed because it's a status move. So it's more protection, more of a reason to use Gholdengo. Yeah, there's nothing here that can like seriously threaten Gholdengo. The biggest one would be Earthquake, I would say. And let's look at the calcs. Copy this, showdown paste. We'll go back to Pokemon Showdown, and what you can do is you can import your set. I wanted to come in and make a little bit of a correction to the Gholdengo spread. I think this would this allows you to take the same amount of hits, but it also allows you to output a little bit more damage. Looking at Chesnaught's special moves, I don't think there's anything that Gholdengo has to worry about, like Energy Ball, Giga Drain, Grass Knot, Leaf Storm, Tera Rock, Focus Blast doesn't hurt. Like Mud Shot is the worst case scenario, and I don't know if investing a lot of HP is necessary. So I think this Gholdengo spread will do you better than the one shown in the video originally. This is what I'm personally going to be using. And then you can go to Gholdengo and load to your custom set. A lot of Gholdengo sets. All right. An Earthquake from an Adamant, which is worst case scenario. I doubt it will be Adamant. From an Adamant Chesnaught, 2 KOs you. Flash Cannon is doing this much damage back without any nasty plots up. You get a nasty plot up, you're doing like two like nasty plot twice, and you're killing like up to 4 Chesnaughts worth of health. And this is worst case scenario. I really highly doubt this Chesnaught's going to be Adamant. I think an Impish is more likely. And once we have information on what Chesnaught is actually running, we can like adjust the EV spread. So you know, you don't have to like gung-ho like, oh, take this Gholdengo set that I've given you here and make it right away. Maybe wait till the raid's out, wait and figure out, you know. But like, if you want to, you know, if you are interested in using Gholdengo, I think Gholdengo is a good Pokemon here regardless. It might not be the best. You know, maybe we'll find something else that actually works better with Chesnaught's moveset. But for the time being, you know, maybe you'll be like, okay, you know what, Gholdengo sounds really good. I want to grind this Chesnaught. I really want Rock Terra Shards. I'm going to go and get myself a Gimme Goal. It gives you some time to prepare. I definitely think Gholdengo is a good Pokemon to have on hand. Have a few spares on hand. I've actually got a couple spare Gholdengos on hand. But yeah, this like Gholdengo is just going to be doing damage. You're going to be getting your health back from Shell Bell. You naturally outspeed Chesnaught, so you don't have to worry about that. And I think honestly, I think this is probably going to be the way to go. Obviously, another big part of Gholdengo, I completely forgot to add this. Metal Sound is another move you can add. I don't like using Metal Sound, but it is like it will obviously help a lot. You know, especially if you're raiding with other people. If this Chesnaught just has like -2, like look how much damage you're doing. -2 Chesnaught plus 2 Gholdengo. You're just like slaughtering this Pokemon, and that's before you Terrasilize. Once you Terrasilize to a Steel type, it's just, yeah, like I said, I can't recommend Gholdengo enough. I don't think Annihilate and Iron Hands are bad options either. I feel like Gholdengo might be a little bit more consistent though. It really just depends what you know, Chesnaught's running. Chesnaught could easily run Iron Defense, which would you know, hurt the physical attackers a lot more, make it harder for them to break through. And if it does, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Body Press set. That would be honestly really interesting. It could also run Bulk Up. It's got Curse as well, which, you know, that would be a bit strange, but it could definitely do it. Chesnaught could also run Drain Punch of his own. Like, Chesnaught gets some crazy moves, man. I feel like for most of these raids, they've been trying to make each individual raid boss something unique and not something like super like similar to each other. As for what I think it's going to be running, I really don't know. I feel like what Grass Stabbed would you really run, buddy? I can't really, I mean, it being mixed wouldn't be like the craziest idea in the world because its special attack isn't the worst, but I feel like they will run it more physically, and if that's the case, it doesn't really get that many physical moves. It gets Trailblaze, Seed Bomb, and Wood Hammer. I mean, I think we've seen them use like recall moves before, so maybe Wood Hammer isn't out of the question. This guy gets Rollout, doesn't he? Yo, do you think they're gonna run a Rollout set? Because he's a rock type, right? I imagine the rock typing is to protect against flying types and fire types. I imagine that's their thinking. But yeah, there's other Pokemon we could potentially run. Let's look at, I think Special Steel is what is like your best friend here. Like I said, it really just comes down to on the day. If Chesnaught doesn't have Iron Defense, then I think physical attackers will have an easier time. Like Iron Hands does do a lot of damage after getting a belly drum off. Like belly drum +6. Like Iron Hands is doing some good damage here. But then if Chesnaught's like iron defensing, then that damage is very quickly gonna just like deteriorate. It is more optimal to run max defense instead of max HP. I usually just add max HP. Like if you look at this, max defense, max attack, the most amount it's going to do is 30. Whereas if you do max HP, max attack, it's going to be doing up to 33%. It's a minuscule difference, but that's why people tell you to run like, you know, max defenses and then max offenses rather than HP. But the reason why I personally do HP is just because that's probably what people already have invested on their Iron Hands. So instead of having to make a whole new Iron Hands, you know. And then of course Annihilate, we talked about Annihilate a little bit. Annihilate doesn't have belly drum like Iron Hands, unfortunately. A reminder, the way you have to think about these raids, so this Drain Punch, the max attack Adamant Drain Punch is going to do like 70%. I'm pretty sure Annihilate's like best way to gain stats is just through Defiant. I think it gets bulk up too. I don't know if it gets Swords Dance. I don't think it does. Yeah, it doesn't get Swords Dance. So Annihilate setting up will take you a lot longer. So the only way for Annihilate to really take advantage of Iron Hands, of Chesnaught here, is if the Chesnaught's running Bulldoze, the Chesnaught's running Rock Tomb, but that's not a guarantee. So I think Annihilate isn't actually the best. I think Iron Hands is better than Annihilate here for sure. Issue now becomes your speed. So let's look at our Iron Hands here. So Iron Hands, we have Chesnaught going first. Chesnaught is faster than Iron Hands. We don't know what nature Chesnaught is, but if Chesnaught is a speed dropping nature, like relaxed, then we could speed creep that a little bit easier. So we can make sure we're going, so because like the reason why people say the speed isn't that important of a stat, but let's talk about this really quick. Speed is very important because if this Chesnaught's relaxed nature, I don't know if any Pokemon has been relaxed nature yet, any of the raid bosses, they might have been. Let's say this Chesnaught's a speed dropping nature, that will make it less investment for your Iron Hands to outspeed this Chesnaught. And the reason you want to do that, if you're going to belly drum and then you're gonna want to start drain punching, you're gonna want to go before the Chesnaught, because if you don't, like let's say this Chesnaught has Wood Hammer, 2 Wood Hammers does at least 50% of your health, and you're already taking 50% of your health away by belly drumming. So you're gonna want to go first so you don't just die after belly drumming, basically. That's if Wood Hammer. If it really depends like what we're working with here, you know. If it's more of like yeah, I feel like it will have a defense raising nature. I've got a funny feeling. I don't really know what type of defense raising natures I don't know what all the natures of the Pokemon. I'd have to have a look at them. But either way, I think speed creeping with Iron Hands is something that could be considered if this guy has a speed dropping nature, which is very possible. I mean, Inteleon was quiet. I don't know why they made Inteleon slower. I guess it already had enough speed. But if this thing is Impish, for example, and we would need this much investment, 116 into your speed, which isn't the end of the world because Iron Hands is just naturally bulky. So we could definitely take some investment out of HP. And the way the raid bosses HP work is, so far they've just taken their HP stat and multiplied it by 30. So when this is doing 300%, this is like doing 3 Chesnaughts worth of damage. So there's like 27 Chesnaughts remaining after that, if that makes sense. Not to mention there is also the shield that you have to break through, which I don't actually know how the shield modifier works, but I should be streaming it this time. I didn't stream it last time because my fiance was moving over. I actually still haven't caught Inteleon on my second Switch yet, so that's something I still need to do. But yeah, really excited for Chesnaught. I love that mon. Hope you guys are too. Let me know what you guys are planning on using. Let me know your thoughts on all these sets, and I'll see you guys then.